From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Wednesday, January the 27th, 2021. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu addressed the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland today, held virtually because of the coronavirus pandemic. He spoke about Israel's efforts to combat the pandemic and said that Israel can serve as a global test case on the vaccine and on reopening the economy. As we mentioned yesterday, Israel closed its airport and today said its border crossings to Egypt and to Jordan would be closed to both Israelis and foreigners to try and keep any mutated versions of the coronavirus from getting into Israel. Although the Allenby crossing for Palestinians in the West Bank to go in and out of Jordan will remain open. President Joe Biden's nominee for the U.S.'s ambassador to the United Nations, Linda Thomas Greenfield, had her Senate confirmation hearing today where she weighed in on a number of issues, including Israel's treatment at the UN. She told the Foreign Relations Committee, "I look forward to standing with Israel, standing against the unfair targeting of Israel, the relentless resolutions proposed against Israel unfairly." Greenfield added, "I'm hopeful that those countries that have recognized Israel under the Abraham Accord," referring there to the Arab countries of the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, Morocco, and Sudan, will also see some opportunities to be more cooperative at the UN and more supportive of Israel's presence there. Janet Yellen was approved by the Senate on Monday and today sworn in as Secretary of the Treasury by Vice President Kamala Harris. The former chair of the Federal Reserve, who is Jewish, is the first woman to hold the position. And Antony Blinken, also Jewish, was approved by the Senate as well and sworn in yesterday as U.S. Secretary of State. Well, today marks International Holocaust Remembrance Day, remembering the 6 million Jewish men, women, and children murdered by the Nazis during the Holocaust. Institutions and Jewish organizations around the world held virtual online commemorations today, including the Auschwitz-Birkenau Memorial Museum in Poland, Yad Vashem in Israel, and the U.S. Holocaust Memorial Museum in Washington. And world leaders shared their tributes and memorials as well, including Prime Minister Netanyahu, who vowed never again, stressing that the mass murder of the Jewish people followed centuries of unchallenged anti-Semitism across Europe and was still alive and well today.
A vaccine to safeguard against the anti-Semitism virus has yet to be found. It is said that some things never change, but I can tell you what has changed. We, the Jewish people, have changed. If at the time of the Holocaust, the Jews were homeless, stateless, defenseless, begging others to protect us, no longer. Today, we are firmly rooted in our ancient land, free and strong in our independent state. As Prime Minister of the country that was reborn after the Holocaust, the country that provided a homeland for the survivors, a state that rose from the ashes, a state in which the Jewish people regained their sovereignty and independence, I vow never to forget the tragic past and never to allow the Jewish people to once again be defenseless against the forces that seek our destruction. Never again isn't a slogan. This is our policy, and this is our mission, and we will always carry it out.
President Biden, in his statement today, also noted that the Holocaust was no accident of history, saying that too many individuals stood by silently. Biden said each of us must remain vigilant and speak out against the resurgent tide of anti-Semitism and other forms of bigotry and intolerance here at home and around the world. As my late friend and Holocaust survivor Tom Lantos so frequently reminded us, Biden said, of the congressman who was the only Holocaust survivor to serve in Congress, the veneer of civilization is paper thin. We are its guardians, and we can never rest. Biden vowed that the U.S. would continue to champion justice for Holocaust survivors and their heirs. He said, "We are committed to helping build a world in which the lessons of the Holocaust are taught and in which all human lives are valued." And the IDF paid tribute to the 6 million with a video narrated by Israeli soldier Omer, a paratrooper in the IDF, who is the grandson of Chaim Noy, liberated from Auschwitz in 1945, in an homage to those who survived the atrocities and the army that now stands strong and proud to defend the Jewish people.
I'm that survivor. I'm Hannah. I'm Meir. I'm Jan. I'm Hadassah. I'm Abba. I'm Rivka. I'm Chaim. I'm that survivor, and I will never forget.
And we have some special programming here on JBS tonight for Holocaust Remembrance Day for Wednesday, January the 27th, including at 7 o'clock. The daughter of a Holocaust survivor, Karen Kaplan, talks about reconciliation and forgiveness from the Riverdale Y. At 7:30, Rabbi Mordechai Becker reviews Talmud examples of maintaining moral integrity and Jewish identity in extreme circumstances such as the Holocaust. At 8, American Jewish Committee Executive Director David Harris offers the keynote at a UN commemoration of the Holocaust by the Holocaust Museum and Center for Tolerance and Education at the Montebello JCC in Suffern, New York. In other programming tonight, at 9 o'clock, Mark Golub speaks with award-winning singer, songwriter, and educator Neshama Karlebach, who talks about her personal journey, her music, and how she has overcome the cancel culture that impacted her life and career. And that's followed at 10 o'clock with a concert from Neshama Karlebach. At 10:30, it's episode 4 of From Date to Mate. And coming up next, Micah Halpern discusses the potential long-term effects of the COVID pandemic on Jewish life and comments on the deaths of renowned Jewish philanthropist Sheldon Adelson and of charismatic Jewish educator Mel Ricefield. And that's the JBS News Update for Wednesday, January the 27th, 2021. I'm Teisha Bader. Stay healthy, stay well.